following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly. I did a fun hand gesture that people can't see. My name is Matthew, and my favorite piece of media that William H. Macy is in is Jurassic Park 3.
And I'm Ryan, and I guess my favorite media that William H. Macy is in is Benny and June. I don't remember who he plays in it, but that's okay.
He plays...
That wasn't the question.
He plays and...
Ah, yes, the riveting performances of an ampersand.
The titular character and. So yeah, this is a podcast where we look up things William H. Macy has been in and just go, he's in that?
I feel like everybody does that, though. I feel like that's just the human existence when it comes to considering William H. Macy.
Oh, that just made me think of, like, a Turing test for AI. It's just like, if they can comprehend William H. Macy, they're not human. If it can tell you more than two things he's been in, it's a robot.
And the characters he played.
Yes. That's not a person, that's IMDb. But yeah, so we're having a drink. We're trying to be succinct. And what are you drinking tonight, Ryan?
I am drinking a rum and coke. Ooh. Because it's what I had in my house. What are you drinking, Matthew?
I'm drinking a Shirley Temple. Because my logic...
You like animal crackers in your soup.
Monkeys and rabbits. It's not make me poop. That's not right. Okay. Loop-de-loop.
It's loop-de-loop.
I think make me poop is what my sister and I would always say when we were little. So, but I have an internal logic for this. So the Shirley Temple is red. And tonight we're talking about Mystery Men, which, if you've seen the film, you'll remember starts with... Everybody say it with me. The Red Eyes attacking senior citizens. So therefore, Shirley Temple. Also have a bunch of grenadine that I need to get through.
Yeah, I went through like a weird period of time where like I could never remember if I had grenadine at my house. And I tend to use it in quite a few cocktails. So I had like 3 bottles of the same, like, Rose's grenadine.
Yep, that's the one I have. Legally the only one you can buy. But yeah.
I'm getting through it. I think I only have 2 bottles now.
I feel like it's something that must have came out in the 20s because a lot of those, like, Prohibition-era cocktails have it in it. So it feels like one of those things where it came out then and everybody's like, oh, this is amazing. We should put it in everything. And then by the 70s, everybody was just like, no, we're just going to do buck wild things with, like, mayonnaise. I don't know what's going on.
And put everything in gelatin.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Have I shown you my, like, cool 70s cookbook from, like, the Culinary Institute?
No, you showed me the fun boy games or whatever that was.
Way out games for youth groups.
They're very way out.
Apparently, my job now is to collect 70s instruction manuals.
I mean, you could do worse.
But no, I've had it for over a year now, and I've not used it. I I got it for my birthday last year
Mm-hmm.
as like a fun treat. And let me tell you, they really liked the concept of aspics.
Of what now?
Like anything you can aspics, like it's things submerged in jello.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a word for that.
Yes. Yes, they really liked aspics. I'll never be the same. Like if it exists, they try to put it in gelatin. I saw a pea salad in aspic. I think that there's a
That sounds horrible.
yeah. None of it sounds good. I don't know why.
Did gelatin become widely available then? Is that when Jello came out?
No, I actually looked that up the other day. Jello came out in like 1870s.
Is is it from the 1870s and you just thought it was the 1970s?
No, it's definitely the 1970s. I'll have to show you in a little bit. It's really cool. Um, yeah, so like aspics, they had several recipes for aspics, and then they had like a bunch of weird recipes for bananas. Like bananas rolled in ham, and then you like cover it in bechamel sauce.
Ugh. Isn't isn't bechamel like creamy cheese?
Yeah, it's like a cheese dip
Oh,
thing.
bananas and cheese don't. Oh, it makes me want to throw up.
Bananas and ham don't go together.
I feel like I would go for bananas and ham over bananas and cheese though if I was given the option.
Well, apparently you have to have both.
It's like they took. Oh, that's nasty. It's like they took what they
You're
had
not
on
wrong,
hand
pal.
and just was like, "Well, I guess this is dinner. Eat up."
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an oil crisis. Eat this. Jimmy Carter's president. Nothing matters. Here's a banana with some cheese and ham.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, it takes me back. I haven't done a recipe from it yet, but maybe that'll be a fun game that we figure out later on.
Just don't do the banana ham and cheese one. That's
No, we're making
atrocious.
that, and we're definitely making an aspic. We're suspending things in Jello. Yeah, I don't with aspics. I don't know what drives people to like have a meal because it literally would look like full meals. Like one of them looked like meatloaf with like mashed potatoes and maybe peas suspended in Jello, and like I don't know what was going through their heads that they thought, this whole meal, you know what it really needs? Chewable bones. Like, let's put that in our system too.
Well,
It's gross.
isn't gelatin bones?
Yeah.
So they were trying to do bones two ways.
Do you think meatloaf is bones?
I thought you said chewable bones.
Yeah, that's the Jello. That's the gelatin.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Like, I don't
I
know.
thought you meant like there was like a turkey or something, like a full cooked turkey in gelatin, and you ate the bones.
No. What they need to add to a regular dinner is having it surrounded by chewable bones.
I get you now. We're on the same wavelength. So yeah, this is our podcast about gelatin. Please rate and subscribe.
Yeah. I looked up gelatin because I thought I saw gelatin in I was watching Pride and Prejudice again.
As one does.
Because I like to be happy. But I was watching it and there had like a dessert in it that looked like Jello, and I was like, that's weird. They wouldn't have had it back then. And I looked and I was like, oh, they might have had it back then.
I'm guessing it wasn't like instant Jello back then, though.
No, it was
like
they boil
sheets.
bones all day.
Yeah. Wild.
Anyway, we're not talking about Jello. We're talking about Mystery Men, aren't we?
A film that I think has Jello in it. Probably.
Do they eat Jello at the diner?
I think maybe it's at the beginning part. with the red eyes
Yeah.
at the old folks' home. So it comes back around. So yeah. So today we're talking about Mystery Men, the 1993 film.
I'm gonna say yes. I
That
have no idea.
sounds right. That's how old I am, so that seems right. um, but yeah. So I think to start off, what is your history with this film?
So my dad actually liked the comics that the Mystery Men were in,
Mm-hmm.
which is I want to say the Flaming Carrot,
That sounds right. Yeah.
which is like an old Dark Horse comic. And the Mystery Men were kind of just like tossable sidekicks. Like they would change a lot because they would just be like regular people that go in and get killed, basically.
Yeah.
And it was just like a fun, funky concept. And so when they came out with the movie, like my dad liked the comics, so I remember watching it. But I remember watching it from like a very young age. Like it was a staple. It was easily one of my favorite movies. I would watch it
That and Tank
all
Girl.
the time. That and Tank Girl. Like, what else can a girl need? Those early 90s movies, man, they just hit you in the heart right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. If you listeners, if you haven't realized, I come from a long generation of nerds.
I'm a first
And so-
generation nerd.
And so a lot of the media that like I stick with still too is like from when I was pretty young. But yeah, I come from a long line of nerds and I was introduced to a lot of stuff at a very young age. What about you, Matthew? What's your history with Mystery Men?
So, the friend that I talked about in the comics episode that had the Hulk comics in elementary school, I was over at his house one night at a sleepover, and he was like, we were probably playing RuneScape or something, and he was like, you want to watch Mystery Men? I was like, watch what? And then he showed me Mystery Men, and next thing you know, I was going through a disco phase. Cause,
As any young boy would do.
yeah, because for some reason, my friend and I really identified with the Disco Boys, Tony P and Tony C. But yeah, that was when I was introduced to it, and then I was immediately hooked. And, you know, I bought it on DVD and made my family watch it, and they were fine with it. So it became a staple in our household. But yeah, that's my history, and I'm
That's good.
sticking to it.
I wish that I'd known you during your disco phase.
I was about to say we were probably in school together, but I don't think we were because that would have been sixth grade.
I don't think we acknowledged each other.
Mm-hmm.
That and I still would have been in elementary school, huh?
Yeah, I had a paisley shirt and a corduroy vest that I wore.
I have a picture of you in that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's not from that era. That's from later on, but I bought it in that era when I was really into disco. But yeah.
Left the phase, kept the fashion.
Yeah.
Love it.
And talking about my disco phase reminded me of my favorite my dad moment. And it was that my dad hates disco because he's a rock and roll man. But he was very supportive of me in my disco phase. And I remember one day he picked me up from school and gave me like a CD that he had burnt for me that had a bunch of like disco hits on it. And we listened to that on the way home. So
That's so
even though he hated
sweet.
disco, he was supportive. Well, maybe not supportive. He enabled my love of disco, which I secretly still have to this day.
You still have the CD or you still love
I
disco?
still love disco. I don't think I have the CD.
That'd be cute if you
It
did.
might be somewhere, but I don't
I
know.
feel like most things are somewhere though, bud.
Okay, somewhere at my parents' house. Though I did have a habit of if there was a blank CD with stuff on it and I didn't know what it was, I would just throw it away. So it might be in the trash somewhere.
I wonder how many empty CDs you've thrown away because of that practice. Like usable CDs.
Probably
I
at
guess.
least two, maybe three.
Oh man, three is way too many.
Three's company, but four
Is a bore.
and five does the jive. Anyway, Mystery Men.
Yes, mystery men. Men.
So this movie's buck wild, and I don't think I really. I think on my first watch I didn't understand how just buck wild it is, because okay, so like a brief synopsis, you kind of touched on it, but it's like basically sea level quote unquote superheroes have to save the world because Greg Kinnear gets kidnapped by Jeffrey Rush and strapped to a machine that bakes him, and then they have to stop Jeffrey Rush and the Disco Boys from doing something. I'm not sure I'm really ever clear to what the machine does. It's not important. This is more of a character piece than a plot driven movie.
It is probably the first time in history that a uh, a man is refrigerated just to get the heroes to exist better.
Yeah. In that way, this movie's
No,
feminist, but in a different,
and
more problematic way. There's one, maybe two women in this movie.
yeah, and they have very specific. Yeah,
Yep.
I don't think it passes the Bickel test.
It definitely doesn't. Because I don't think the two female characters, well, they might be in the same, it might pass the Bechdel test.
I know I said I wouldn't look anything up for this episode, but I'm gonna look something up really quick.
Because I think maybe, so one of the women is Ben Stiller's girlfriend, and the other is Jeffrey Rush's doctor girlfriend. And they kidnap Ben Stiller's girlfriend. Oh,
You're forgetting
wait,
about
I'm forgetting about the
bowler.
bowler. Yeah, there's three. There's
How
three women.
dare you?
I didn't forget about her. She wasn't one of the two that I was thinking interacted. Because I don't think she ever meets Ben Stiller's girlfriend, does she?
Yeah, because they save her.
But I mean, they don't talk.
They might. How do you spell whatever?
B
Google.
E
Will
C
help me.
H D E L.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, who's a feminist?
Hey.
But yeah, so while Ryan's looking that up, I will finish my synopsis. So basically, they have to save the world from Jeffrey Rush and the Disco Boys because Greg Kinnear, in his hubris, has defeated all the supervillains, but he still wants to fight them. So he lets Jeffrey Rush out of jail, and then Jeffrey Rush murks him, and zaniness ensues. The plot's not strong. It's a very character-driven piece. It's buck wild that this movie was made to me because this is the period of time. It's before like X-Men and Blade, but after the Schumacher Batman, which is like the dead zone for superhero movies.
Yeah.
And for some reason, what is it, like New Line Cinema or whatever, was just like, yeah, we'll make this movie based off an obscure comic starring Ben Stiller, Hank Azaria, and William H. Macy. It's wild.
If you were wondering, it passes one of the three Bechdel tests.
Which one?
there are multiple named characters
But they never talk about something that isn't a
other than a
man.
man. They did note that there is a female reporter who is credited as reporter, so she's not named, and she does ask a question that the bowler answers, but it doesn't actually, because they're not both named characters, it doesn't get to pass that test.
Yeah, and that's kind of gray too because they're kind of talking about the men. Because doesn't she ask him what they're called, and she says the mystery men?
I think
So she's kind of
so.
talking about.
Yeah. That was
But
just
yeah,
like an added, like, technically an encounter did happen, but it wasn't actually.
technically there was an encounter. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of the plot. I skipped over a bunch of quality stuff, but that's basically.
There were a lot of goofs. Was it the first movie superhero movie with like an ensemble cast? Like, is this just
This is
a
so okay. Yeah,
did
yes,
Mystery Men walk so Avengers could run?
yes. This is. I think. Well, there's a obscure TV movie called The Legend of the Superheroes that has the
Okay.
Justice League in it, but they're like low budget, low budget, like Adam West Batman Justice League. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't released in theaters like this was.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of that has an ensemble superhero cast. But yes, this is Avengers before the Avengers, basically, with more disco, which is a shame.
Breaking.
The Avengers should have had more disco. Maybe it would have made $2 billion if it had more disco.
It could you argue that some of the songs from what's his face's playlist are disco?
I'm trying to remember all of that playlist, and
I want to say yes.
I think that Rubber Band Man is technically disco, but I'm not gonna say it for sure. Um, sure. Let's just say there's probably disco on there. I mean, it's
So nothing could have saved the Avengers. They were never making $2 million or $2 billion.
yeah. Well, specifically the first movie. I think the other ones made more than $2 billion.
Oh, that's sad.
Um, but yeah. So yeah, this is basically the Avengers Part One. Um, yeah. It's just a crazy, crazy film. So
No, a lot happens, and it is one that like it's like yes, there's a cohesive story, but I feel like it's more distinct scenes.
set that definitely it's more of a comedy than a superhero movie because superhero movies didn't exist.
For sure. I will be completely transparent because I wanted to keep the nostalgia and I was afraid of the blatant sexism of the 90s that I have not rewatched it in the last probably I don't think I've watched it for like a couple years now.
I
I
think
want it to stay in that nostalgia zone.
so. I think it's in that sort of Star Trekky zone where it's like there are moments that aren't sexist and try to like comment on the sexism, but then there's also
Hmm.
that scene where they have like the gun that shrinks people's clothes and they use it on
Yeah.
the ladies and Ben Stiller's like I think my pants are shrinking, and
Yeah.
that's not a great scene. That one's a
No.
whoops. um but that's the only thing that sticks out in my mind. But I also have not seen it in a minute.
It's a good movie. I think that there are some movies that need to stay in the nostalgia zone and maybe don't need to be revisited. And I think that maybe this is one of them.
Yeah.
For the time, it was a great movie for me to watch.
There's a definite asterisk on this one that's like, hey, it was made in the 90s. It might be a little yikes at times.
For sure.
But I feel like they tried to use the bowler for like commentary on the sexism at parts. Because I think,
God, she was my favorite character.
There's parts of the film where they tell her to do something or something, and she's like, "Because I'm a woman," and they're all like, "No," but yeah, she's a great character. I love that
I wanted to be her.
I love that her dad's skull is in the bowling ball. She can hear it. Yeah. I don't bowl, but I want that bowling ball. If I was a professional bowler.
You just need resin and a human. You can have my skull. If I die before you, you can make my skull into a bowling ball.
Are podcasts legally binding?
I'm going to say yes. I'll find a napkin.
Is this a verbal contract?
This is a verbal contract. If I die before you, you can have my skull, but you have to turn it into a bowling ball. And you have to talk to me at least once a week.
Okay. Do we know a notary that listens? If you're a notary and you listen to this podcast, reach out.
There are notaries at my job. And I've considered becoming a notary because apparently it's like a handy little... Because it's like you don't know you need one until you need one kind of a thing.
Yeah, then when you need one, just some random person's like, oh yeah, I'm a notary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a beam of light shines down on them from the heavens.
We should become notaries. Notaries, and I am an ordained minister through the Church of Life. So I can do weddings.
And if you were a notary, you could notarize those weddings.
I sure... Full service, baby. Actually, I don't think you can notarize something if you sign it. Like, you have to have, like, a different... Because it's like a witness, essentially.
A certified witness sort of thing? Yeah. But yeah, Mystery Man.
Sorry, I got lost in dreamland where I do gay weddings.
Your magical fantasy of being a notary.
Some women daydream about everything. Women can daydream about anything. But I know a lot of women,
anything, especially notaries.
Yeah. I know a lot of women in my life whose daydream is like if they weren't doing the job that they're currently in, they would like to be a florist. That's I understand that. I do. Mine is I want to do weddings. And I guess part of that is I want to notarize things.
So we've kind of touched on the casting a little bit. And how wild it is. Do we want to go through like the major characters and just say who they are so people can be like, what?
Yes. I will start with the person we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, William H. Macy.
Is the shoveler.
He plays the shoveler.
And he says a line that my family quotes all the time, which is when his wife is... There's another woman. He has a wife. But his wife is telling him to like give up being a superhero, and he's like, I shovel well. I shovel very well. And that's his power. So if anytime like me or my dad does anything like well, we'll be like, I shovel well. I shovel very well. But yeah, quality character.
Yeah. And then the Blue Raja,
Hmm.
right? That's his
Yes.
name. Which that's another 90s yikes.
And I think they don't, at one point, they're like, they make a comment about how it's kind of yikes in the film,
Yeah, touching on it doesn't make it okay though.
but it was the 90s and they tried not to, not to like condone it, but
And he throws spoons,
no, he throws forks.
forks. Right.
Is it spoons? It's forks.
No, it's forks.
Because
You're
he
absolutely right.
sits on one at one point in a fun little gag.
Yeah, and then there's like one section where he throws something, but it is a spoon, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Which is another just weird fucking. Why forks? What? What?
Because if it was spoons, it wouldn't do anything.
That's fair. He also has a mom.
Yep, there's another female character.
Granted, most people have moms.
Well, yeah.
Statistically, most people have mothers. I guess maybe is it better. And I remember like that weird scene. It's not a weird scene, but like he's
It's a
going
weird
through
scene.
her
It's a weird
silverware.
movie.
God, yeah, no, it is a weird. It's a weird movie, but he steals her silverware, and she's like, "Go get him" or whatever. It was.
Doesn't she give him like a special fork too? That's been in the family.
No, I think that he's just going through her regular drawers, and then she gives him like the fancy silver.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Why? Why? What is Ben Stiller's character's name? Because I
Mr.
don't
Furious.
remember. Mr. Furious.
I had to look it up. Because I just always think of him as Ben Stiller. Basically, his thing is like, he's always kind of angry, but it's not really like a Hulk thing. He's just angry. Because there's like a point where they attack Jeffrey Rush's limo, which Jeffrey Rush's name in this film is Casanova Frankenstein.
Which is the best villain
What?
name that's
Yeah.
ever existed.
What a gift to the world. But they're attacking his limo, and he like tries to rip off the little like logo on the front of the limo, and he can't even do that.
He just like scratches at it. I remember that bit.
But yeah, so that's like the core three. And then once Greg Kinnear dies, or no, before Greg Kinnear dies, they hold tryouts to expand the team. And that's where,
And to rescue Greg Kinnear.
yeah, and that's where we meet the bowler,
Yes.
played by
who is
Janine Garofalo.
Yes, she's my favorite character.
She is,
Uh,
I don't, in a film of very good characters, she is like top tier.
She really is, and I don't know, and it kind of falls into like when I was younger, did I love her because she was the only girl character or like the only girl superhero, or did I love her because she was a good character? And I think I loved her because she was a good character.
I think so. I feel like Janine Garofalo plays the character well.
She's very rough and tumble,
Well, her dad
really funny.
was killed by gangsters, so
Her dad was killed by gangsters. Oh man! And then the fucking you have the head and the
yeah,
bowling ball that talks to her is just great. And the conversations they have are very father-daughter. Like it just like the whole thing is just great.
yeah,
I can't wait for my. Yeah, I can. Never mind.
yeah. Don't finish that sentence. But yeah, isn't it one of the conversations at one point that her dad wants her to go to like college or something, and she's like, "No, I'm trying to avenge your death." So I can't remember who we meet next. I don't think we're going in order anyway, but
No.
Kel Mitchell, very 90s, plays the
She plays the invisible boy, right?
who can only be invisible if nobody's looking. And it's kind of a joke throughout the movie that they're like, that's not being invisible. But it turns out at the end, spoilers, he does actually become invisible, but his clothes also fall off. So, which
I just assumed he took them off.
I think they fall off. I think you like see him hit the like fall off, not like he's taking them off. Because it's also the joke that he turns around and they're looking at him and he's visible again and he's naked. And he seems shocked that he is naked, so I don't think it was an intentional thing. And then Paul Rubin is the spleen, whose power is he was cursed by a gypsy to have deadly farts.
Yeah.
Which is
also yikes.
Yeah, 90s yikes. And then, let's see. There's also the Sphinx, played by Wes Studi. I've never heard his name pronounced, but he is the mysterious Native American man who gives out wisdom that is sort of like circular logic.
Yeah, which is another.
I feel like their intent for that one was to make fun of the like mysterious native character, but at the same time they're doing it by making fun of it. So
yeah, I'm still gonna call that another 90s yikes.
Yeah, and I think that's everybody.
I do too.
Because there's 7 of them. But yeah, that's the core cast. And then Greg Kinnear is Captain Amazing or something dumb like that. But he's just supposed to be like the do-goody. He's supposed to be like Captain America, but he's sponsored by corporate America, man. He's capitalism, man. Is this movie about capitalism versus socialism?
No, I don't think the 90s were that
deep. The 90s were where we were starting to be like, is capitalism bad? But we hadn't quite formed that thought yet.
I feel like the 90s were like coming off the like capitalism is the only way.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're all recovering from doing a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, one time I watched a documentary about the band Chicago.
I thought you were going to say one time I did cocaine.
No, but one time I watched a documentary about the band Chicago for some reason, and they talked about how they had a phone booth on stage that just had a bunch of coke in it. So like in the middle of the show, they would just go into that phone booth and do a bunch of coke and then come out and play songs. And it was just like, what is your life? That could not have been a good show. People paid money for this. But yeah, that's the cast, and it kind of segues us into a fun new segment that I thought up called
Oh yeah?
They're in That? Which is a game where I give you a character, or not a character, an actor. Not necessarily an actor. I give you a human being, and you have to tell me whether or not they are in the film Mystery Men.
Okay.
Are you ready to play?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start you off with an easy one, just to sort of ease us in. Janine Garofalo, is she in Mystery Men?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. You have 5 points, and you can redeem those points at any Costco for the value of 1/100th of a penny.
Ooh.
Okay. So, your next human being is Celine Dion. Is Celine Dion in Mystery Men?
Oh my god. She's not in it. There's no way.
Correct. She is not in Mystery Men.
Okay.
Okay. Your next human is Corbin Bleu from Disney's Jump Up. Is Corbin Bleu in Mystery Men?
Is he one of the shoveler's kids?
Is that your answer?
I'm gonna say yes, and he's one of the shoveler's kids.
Correct. Okay. Um, famous musician Tom Waits. Is
Tom
Tom
Waits?
Waits in Mystery Men?
No.
Er, he's Dr. Joseph A. Heller.
Oh man. I don't like that.
I kept almost saying that, but then I was like, no, wait, that's part of the game. I need to not say anything. Okay. Your next, I'll do two more.
Okay.
Okay, your next human, director Michael Bay. Is
No,
director Michael Bay in Mystery Men?
he's not in it. He isn't. He's not in it.
Incorrect. He is in it.
No.
He's one of the frat boys at Casanova Frankenstein's big party at the end.
Oh, gross.
Yep.
That doesn't surprise me.
Okay, and I know I said I was only gonna do two more, but I'm gonna do two more after this one. Okay, so your next human, musician, CeeLo Green.
Yes, he isn't. I remember him in that because I was like, that's weird.
Yep, he is with members of his musical group, the Goody Mob, as the Not So Goody Mob. Okay, and this one's for all the marbles.
Okay.
Is actor Doug Jones, who, best known in our world as Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies, in Mystery
Okay.
Men.
I don't know. I can't picture where he would be. And I'm hitting that point where like most of the answers have been yes, so I can't tell if this is a trick. I'm gonna say no. But why would you end on a no?
Would I?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
Incorrect, he is. He is Pencilhead.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Which also reminds me, Dane Cook is in this movie as the Waffler, which is not great.
Oh man.
So that
Yeah, because
was...
it's Pencilhead and Son of Pencilhead. That was a good bit.
Yep. So that was the fun new game. They're in that?
Thank you. I enjoyed
Yes.
playing it.
What else is there to talk about? Oh, another random thought. All Star by Smash Mouth was written for this film.
It was written for it?
I'm pretty sure. It was either written for it or it premiered on the soundtrack. So before that was a Shrek song, it was the Mystery Men song. Just a fun tidbit. This has been Tidbit Corner. I hate that name. And I regret it instantly. Back
A lot
to
or
you.
just a tidbit?
Okay. So, I think that's all I have to say about Mystery Men. Is there anything that you would like to add?
God, the plot is just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I really do only remember, like, bits and pieces. Like, it's, like, I know the overall plot, but, like, the scenes, like, the individual scenes and the way the characters react to each other, like, I feel like it would have been a fun movie to be in, like, to act in.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, it is kind of that first ensemble cast, and there are a lot of, I don't know how popular they were when the movie came out, but, like,
I
there are a
feel
lot of people who are pretty well known now.
I feel like Hank Azaria might be like the lowest like tier celebrity in like the main ensemble, but I feel like everybody was pretty popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because would this have been around? No, that would have been what? I feel like Ben Stiller was in something like popular.
Zoolander.
I feel like that was like early 2000s.
I'm sure it was.
It seems very early 2000s. I don't. He might have been in like a TV show or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they were popular, but they weren't like well known.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I don't know. I was I don't think I was alive when the movie came out, or if I was like a little tyke.
Yeah. Can we talk about the Disco Boys?
Yes. So
Because I love them. And the head disco boy,
is it Tony P or Tony C? I don't remember.
one of those funky Tonys.
It's Eddie Izzard, whoever they play. Is
Just iconic.
yeah. Like the costumes, the
The style,
the
the
scene
flair.
where they dance to oh, what is it? It's a Bee Gees song. It's not Staying Alive, or is it Saturday Night Fever?
I don't remember the song. I was
Yeah.
never that into disco. I don't think I picked it up. I do remember like there's like a scene where they were like, and then they like jumped or like fell. It was a weird thing. I just remember like sharp glimpses.
Yeah, it's like I can remember random scenes. It's like I feel like I remember the whole movie, but I remember it in random scenes that aren't in sequential order, if that makes sense.
No, yes, it makes sense, but they're not. Like it's just little blurbs here and there. But I do feel like every time the Disco Boys were on screen, I was just enthralled with whatever they were doing.
Mm-hmm. And I
And if you're
don't.
talking about like a commitment to an aesthetic, I mean,
Yeah, because there's a scene where Casanova Frankenstein's talking to Tony. I can't. I think it's Tony C.
mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't remember which one's which, but he says Casanova Frankenstein says something like disco is dead, and Tony C's like disco is not dead, disco is life, and that was just sort of the creed I lived by my sixth grade year.
Oh man, hell yeah, disco is life. God,
It's coming back. Arcade Fire made a disco album that everybody hated, but I loved it. So
not everybody had your sixth grade experience, though.
yeah, not everybody has had the experience of watching Mystery Men, then falling in love with disco, and then years later becoming a fan of Arcade Fire, and then a couple more years later, then putting out a disco album.
Oh man. Okay, so what would you rate Mystery Men?
I'm just gonna go pure nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Not like not I'm not gonna say ignoring the yikes, but just like acknowledging it but not using it to rank it.
Okay.
I would rank it 4 bowlers bowling balls out of 7. No,
Okay.
no, I don't like that rating system. Give me a second. I'm gonna rank it 2 Tony P's out of 3 Disco Boys. I think my rating changed, but I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
Pure nostalgia.
I'm going to give it one from Staying Alive
Out of 4?
out of technically throughout the song, there's a lot more than four.
So is it one out of all the Oz in a song, or is it one out of the four in that bit of the chorus?
I'm gonna say out of the bit in the chorus because I think that that's too many. If it like it's
Okay,
good.
let me real quick. Just let me
What a,
Google how many Oz are in "Staying Alive."
we'll say just the first chorus, like just that little section. One out of four is what I'm saying. Like it's okay.
um,
I'm being generous with the nostalgia. I feel like
so there is no answer to how many Oz are in "Staying Alive," but I'm now on the Glee wiki about their cover of that. Ooh,
does it have an alignment? Does the song have? Do they give songs
the song,
alignment?
according to the Glee wiki, the song is chaotic neutral. It's oh, what was it? It's paraphernalia is a hooky beat, and wait, give me a second. It's the rest of its paraphernalia is 104 beats per minute, and some tight harmonies, and that's what the wiki says. And I think
Hell
they're going to
yeah!
delete that. So if you look later, it might not be on there, but at moment of recording, it is. So
Those pesky Glee wikis and constantly updating.
are Glee fans called Gleeks?
I think so, but I don't like
Yeah,
that.
that makes me angry. That's not how I want to end this episode. Angry about Glee. What is this, high school? I want this to be middle school. I want to be happy about disco, not angry about Glee.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go listen to the Bee Gees real quick, and then we'll come back and finish the show, so I can be in a better place. Okay, so this has been an episode of a little show we like to call Disco Boys. I'm Tony C.
And I'm Tony P.
And if you want to follow us on socials, follow us at the Disco Boys. Just kidding. That was a goof. This is actually Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. Sorry to spring this on you at the end. But if you want to follow us, we're at Rhetorical Magic on everything.
On Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, I guess on everything.
On everything.
Everything that matters.
Yeah. I was about to
We're
say.
gonna be on Tumblr soon.
I was gonna say suck it Zuckerberg, but I think Facebook owns Instagram, so yeah.
No, didn't they have to sell Instagram?
I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm
Follow
at
us on social media.
yeah, I'm at RMCH Matt.
And I am at Queer Mothra.
You know, be good to one another. Disco's not dead. Disco is life. You know, just have a nice trip. See you next fall. The shovel well, shovel very well in everything that you do. And like we say at the end of every episode,
Clink.
I was going to try to hold it so we had an hour on the record, but that would be 3 minutes of just silence.
Oh, man.
Going to be away for a while.
All right, I'll be down in about 20 minutes.
Him.
William H. Macy. I have to Google one thing.
He's in a lot more than you would think.
I know, that's what I. Because in my head, I can only remember him in two things, and he plays a very different character.
He's a chameleon. I know him from three things, one of which we're talking about this evening.
Okay, I know him, and I have seen two things he's been in.
Only two?
It appears that way.
Huh.
Oh, three, but I don't remember him in that one, so I guess it doesn't count. Who did he play in Benny and June?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't realize he was in that.
This is probably podcast material. We should probably do the clap.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.